YouTube, it's Tone back with another one for you, and this one is cracking the code, the cracking the code 3/17th video of this particular book. When we finish this shit up, which is good, I think you guys will gain a lot of valuable information by the time we get to the bottom of this. I've been skipping through certain areas because a lot of this shit I don't even like talking about. These people are really fucking clowns. It's annoying to even speak about this shit, but how else are you guys gonna learn? Because nobody wants to read. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna talk about how you become a subject, and then at the end of the video, we're gonna tell you how to get relief from it, right? And I'll throw my personal opinions in as we go. So let's get right into this. So cold suretyship through licensing. In America, a person with a name designated in all capital letters is legally classified as an individual, which is an organization and a business, okay, according to them. The legal definition of individual is citizen of the United States, 5 USC 552A A2. So a citizen of the United States must be licensed for almost every activity under the sun, proven by appearance of its name exclusively on every type of issue license. License is defined as follows. And it's beyond me how anybody can become a citizen of something that doesn't fucking exist. Also, that's just pretty fucking ridiculous. So, and in international law, permission granted by a belligerent state to its own subjects or to the subject of an enemy to carry out a trade interdicted by war. Bouvier's 8th edition. So that's who they're giving licenses to. They're giving them to it's a belligerent state giving you permission to do whatever they say that you can. All right, because we are at war, and that's the thing. So, and we're going to get into that too in this video. So as mentioned earlier in this book, the common law is ancient and immutable and predates all codified law. Its principles having been established by usage and custom since before recorded history based on principles of the common law. No flesh and blood man or woman need to obtain the permission of any abstract contrivance of the mind. And that's exactly what this fucking government is. It's a concept. It doesn't exist. It only exists on paper and in your mind. It's a religion. This shit is a religion, okay? It only exists because you believe it does. But in all reality, it's just other men and women acting, pretending to be something that doesn't fucking exist, okay? So they're all just as lost as everybody else. So such as a government for fulfilling basic needs for survival and keeping his or her body alive. The only way artificial governments can govern and rule over a living, breathing man is by convincing him that he is a subject of another or others far wiser than he in deciding what is best for him and then administering legalized deadly violence against him should he stray too far from the herd. Making a man believe that he is a subject can be accomplished in many ways, one of which is corruption of the name, as discussed in the first essay in this manual. As a sovereign, your ultimate remedy is in the common law and international law, trade, commerce. So, trade and commerce, exchange with sovereigns. And when involved in commerce, intercourse of any kind, the greatest power resides in your true name. Of course, anyone can forego these options and pursue remedy in the name of his or her bankrupt citizen of the United States debtor trade name. You hear the roosters in the background? These chickens come up, they're trying to get famous. So, which is always welcomed by the government, but eminently ineffective in achieving one's objectives. However, as is discernible from the definition of the license above, licensing of subjects comes into play when a trade occupational calling is interdicted, prohibited, or forbidden by war, as is presently in the case in America. So, the reason why you would get a license is to do something that would otherwise be illegal. And so, when we're talking about, a licensed plumber, a licensed electrician, and things like that, I don't even see how that would be necessary to be honest with you, unless you plan on operating in commerce. You can operate privately just as well without a license. Licensing is for commercial purposes only. So, trading with the enemy. The federal offense of carrying on commerce with a nation or with a subject or ally of a nation with which the United States is at war. Okay? So why would they have to create the Trading with the Enemy Act if we were not at war with these people? Okay? So they're essentially a crown colony sitting in Washington colonizing that particular country. Highly illegal. So you got all these people working as subsidiaries of this fake ass government, all operating on invalid permits, okay? Because they're an invalid state just in general, and so everything under them is gonna fall under that as well, okay? So they have no authority at all, at all. Only the ones that the only authority they have is whatever you think that they have, and they're gonna ride with that. They're gonna ride with whatever you think. All right. So the Trading with the Enemy Act of October 6, 1917, H.R. 4960, Public Law 91, through admitting of the possibility that citizens of the United States could be considered as an enemy when involved in monetary transaction within the United States, also expressly excluded them from such categorization in the following passage. Such other individuals or body or class of individuals as may be native citizens or subjects of any nation with which the United States is at war, other than citizens of the United States, wherever residents or wherever doing business, underline emphasis added. However, the Amendatory Act to the Trading with the Enemy Act, also known as Emergency Banking Relief Act of March 9, 1933, 41 Statute 1, amended the Trading with the Enemy Act at the time when the United States was not in a shooting war with any foreign foe, omitting the clause excluding citizens of the United States as enemies in war and including them as such instead via insertion of the following innocuous little passage. By any person within the United States or any place subject to the jurisdiction thereof. So by operation of law, all persons or citizens of the United States involved in monetary transactions within the United States were now officially enemies of the United States government, as such required a license for almost every type of commercial activity imaginable. The above definition of license from Bouvier's aid now becomes more understandable. In international law, permission granted by a belligerent state to its own subjects or to the subjects of the enemy to carry on a trade interdicted by war. The fact that sovereign Americans do not qualify as persons within the United States, and we really do not qualify for benefits from these people. They're fucking bankrupt. What benefit can a bankrupt organization give you other than the benefit of being able to hack your freaking estate with a social? And come on, that shit is crazy. So, and hence are not subjects of the legislation, was not explained for them by the U.S. government in 1933, nor any time thereafter, and never will be. That's right, because they're never going to tell you this shit, but I will. So using this legislation as justification, however, federal and state government agencies launched a nationwide campaign to convince all Americans that they need a license for virtually every activity they were involved in, and managed successfully inculcating the stratagem, so putting it into play, into society over the ensuing decades. Then you got, you guys know what it is whenever you talk to somebody about any of this shit here, and you see how brainwashed these fucking people are. The shit is crazy. They're gonna tell you, oh, you're gonna get in trouble, you can't do this, Bunch of fucking cowards. These people are fucking cowards, all right? So they're gonna be slaves for the rest of their life. You don't have to be that. This shit is a choice. Slavery is a choice. So make a choice not to be a slave. Change your mind. Because obviously a lot of people can't. So licensing equals legal liability. When a sovereign American voluntarily applies for, accepts, endorses in his name, and uses as his own a license issued in the all capital letter trade name of his strawman, that party is signing for accommodation because the strawman is incapable of signing, and has cemented his status as surety for the citizen of the United States, enemy debtor individual named thereon, because every accommodation party is ever and always a surety. It cannot be any other way. Now, look, for them to get you into a contract such as a license, for them to allow you to forfeit your God-given rights, okay, you have to be a sovereign to do that. Otherwise, what they're doing is contracting with people of an unsound mind, and that contract is invalid on its fucking face. All right, so you have to be a sovereign to be able to forfeit your sovereign rights, right? Otherwise, they're essentially contracting with children. All right, highly, highly illegal. So cut that shit out. So the strawman named on the license has neither the hand nor the body required for applying a signature. Another party must perform these acts on its behalf. Someone capable of assuming legal liability for the person in whose name the license is issued, an accommodation party. The voluntary act of applying for a license that is issued the strawman's trade name by executing one's own signature in the place of the strawman's concrete evidence of the voluntary assumption of the status of surety. Okay, Like I said, in order to become surety, you have to be of sound mind, and you do have to be a sovereign to put yourself up on the chopping block to be surety for anything, okay? Otherwise, they're contracting with people of an unsound mind and essentially children. That's just not legal. So, as asserted by the assistant U.S. attorney in the Cooper case, the act of paying Social Security payroll taxes into the Social Security account of the individual named on the Social Security card constitutes a contract of co-surety that places anyone so contracting in the federal jurisdiction and a subject of the mandatory federal income taxation. Okay, well, you can tax people on income when you clarify what the definition of income is. All right, so, which, by the way, is any proceeds derived from any investment, stocks, bonds, etc. That shit does not apply to physical manual labor. That shit is slavery, okay? So since the entity listed on every license that you carry is the same, and that on Social Security card in your possession, there is no reason to believe that the same liabilities do not apply. So volunteering and co-surety shit. The Internal Revenue Code, Title 26, United States Code Annotated, states that our system of taxation is based on voluntary compliance, and it certainly is, okay? So as everyone knows from the cavalcade, I don't know what that is, of cases, I would assume that means a lot of them, of cases that are enthusiastically reported by the news media, those who do not voluntarily comply and file income taxes and pay income tax are forced into complying, paying with fines, indictments, seizures of property, garnishments, and incarceration. Well, the funny thing is that they only show on the news what they want you to see. They're not showing you everybody that's winning, all right? They're not showing you everybody that's bopping them on the head like a fucking, like whack-a-mole. Because these people really don't have any power, and none of their bullshit stands up to the slightest bit of scrutiny. Okay, so they don't like people asking questions. I mean, you don't even got to make any statements. All you got to do is ask the right questions to let them back themselves into a corner. You know what I'm saying? And they won't. So, what is it? So, when did the voluntary part come into the picture? Though by no means an exhaustive list. The moment you voluntarily paid your first penny into your Social Security payroll tax, which was, of course, preceded by your parents voluntarily enrolling you in the Social Security system when you were a minor, okay? The Baby Act, you cannot contract with a baby, but they're doing it, okay? So, and your subsequent failure upon attaining the age of majority to withdraw from the program and nullify, cancel the contract, thereby tacitly consenting with the terms of the contract in full, albeit unwittingly, and making yourself welfare eligible. The first time you voluntarily accepted free home delivery or other mail matter from the agent of the commander-in-chief, de facto military personnel of the United States. Hang on. Let's get into this next slide. And then here we'll talk about, well, after this slide, we'll talk about how you can get your remedy too, as well. So the de facto military state postal service, although you can officially notice the postmaster that you have been accepting free delivery of mail matter under mistake and no longer wish free delivery, the headaches that come with such a move are significant. Capture of legal title of the trade name under the common law and control of the same, the UCC allows both the use of the Postal Service and control of the destiny of the citizen of the United States trade name. And that's the thing, is that so when you go ahead and file your UCC1 and all that, what you're doing essentially is commercially capturing your little monopoly, because it's a fucking game of Monopoly. What you're doing is capturing your little monopoly piece and giving, and then so then you notice everybody and you're giving them an opportunity if they have a problem with you capturing your own slave, if you will, right? Because that's what it is. I mean, you're not the slave, but your all caps name is, because it isn't real. So they can slave that thing. And so you're giving them an opportunity to rebut, the claim that you're making against it. Okay? So the first time you voluntarily applied for and signed for and paid for and received a license for a privileged activity in the all capital letter name of your citizen of the United States, individual, under states, government, employee, all caps trade name, and assume responsibility for payment and performance of the strawman's obligations associated therewith by signing for accommodation, and the first time you undertook numerous other voluntary acts such as applying and paying for and receiving a passport from the United States Department of State and registering to vote in the all capital letter citizen of the United States, and when affixing your own personal signature as accommodating party, therefore surety on each document. Okay, so I do have a passport. You know what I'm saying? I did it the copper moonshine stills way and all that. The shit is real. The shit really works. And the thing is, so after I did that, I went ahead and placed it on my promissory estoppel that I sent to all of the government agencies. So it's going to the Supreme Court. It's going to the governor. It's going to your county sheriff, your head Supreme Court justice in your particular area. Right, you're sending this all to them, letting them know that you're taking claim of all this, and it's your personal private property at this point, and it's no longer theirs. So they're not really going to be subject to any of their bullshit just because you have one, because you claimed it as your personal private property now. Okay, so the only reason you have suffered at the hands of those who would bleed every ounce of economic lifeblood from your withered carcass is because you were unaware of the artificially manufactured justification technique used by the con men for wreaking holy hell with your life, corruption of your name. It has taken over 2,000 years, but this little band of extortionists has put together quite an operation for itself, and it all depends on your continued ignorance of the name of the personal property and the significance of your true name spelled in all capital letters in the abbreviated format. The reason government, bank, corporate court, and tax agency computers spit out bills, statements, and threatening correspondence with your name corrupted into the all caps format is because the entity name therein is the actual target, right? They're not talking about you. And that's why you look crazy when you go into court answering as if they're even talking about you. They cannot talk about a private man, right? I mean, you got to understand the difference between public and private. So since they are a public corporation, they can only interface with another dead corporate entity as well. So they've never actually been making reference to you so much as trying to hack the estate of your all capital letter name. And you could simply go in there and resolve the issue. Would have to be speaking in third person and things like that. So the account holder, the customer, they are utterly dependent on your mistakenly believing that the all caps name identifies you. So you will assume the role of the accommodation party and the surety for the artificial person that they have created. Such is the depths of their deceit. Their entire earthly objective, every waking moment of every single day of their hideous little existence, predicated on keeping you and your family and your friends ignorant on the real meaning behind the name set in all capital letters and the significance of applying your own signature when it's the strong man's signature that is required. It was never you. Okay? So for those afflicted with the curse of the co-suretyship and pathology can be grim. Loss of wealth, loss of possessions, loss of shelter, loss of family, loss of self-respect, loss of health, and even loss of life. It matters not whether one willingly submits and acts in accordance with the agenda of the chosen masters and does chosen masters. Yeah, right. And does as is told. The foregoing milestones comprise the schedule of events for one and all. The only difference is the timing. There is no logic in these plans, and this is the very reason that most people cannot conceive that anyone else could have such evil intentions. However, if unchecked, everyone, including the perpetrators, will lose in the end. And that's a fact. Everybody's gonna lose in the end here. For one, they're not getting away with that shit, and there's gonna be a lot of loss of life too. They're gonna lose everything too. I mean, it is a game, but the shit ain't a game. You know what I'm saying? If that makes any sense. So, what do we got here? So here we're gonna get into the remedy or the relief. So probably the most tragic and regrettable fact is all that none of the statements contained in this volume constitute hyperbole. So your authors wish it were not so, but such is the gravity of the situation that we are faced with. So relief. No matter how black it may be for some, there is abundant hope for those who are capable of seeing what is in front of them. For such people, the curse of co-suretyship is as temporary as the common cold and more easily treated as well. Capture and control under the common law of the trade name that others have been exploiting at your expense requires nothing more than the asserting the fact in writing, right? So it definitely got to put that shit in writing. Taking the steps of filing the statement in the legal notices section of the newspaper and with the county clerk recorder establishes public notice and makes it that much better. So, and I mean, everything's about notice. I mean, you definitely got to notice these clowns so they can't move forward in any way, shape, or form without knowingly committing a criminal act. Okay, so following public notice of your new common law copyrighted trade name, creation of the legal relationship between the two of you via a private agreement and a security agreement. And when you're putting these notices in, you're putting your fee schedule in there and all that, and these people agree, they tacitly agree by silent acquiescence to pay your fees. So when they start playing stupid ass games after you notice them, you're just gonna show up with invoices. So whatever that they're talking about, you just show up with your counterclaim and some invoices and all that, right? And if they want to keep playing games after you notice them and you send invoices, perform an administrative process on these clowns, you can go ahead and lien them up. You could put a lien on it and see how funny it is when they lose their house and their car and all that too. The shit is real. The shit is real, okay? So an execution and filing of a UCC finance statement to perfect the matter can be completed in days. These documents legally distinguish you from the trade name and give you legal control over it in all financial and legal matters, including those involving government actors, because they're all actors, who carried out the ugly plot at the behest of the chosen masters that put us in this mess in the first place. The degree of control over your economic life depends only on your understanding of the power that resides in legal ownership of your true trade name, or of your true name and your all caps trade name, and your effectiveness in communicating it. So mere notification of the relationship between you and your trade name is sometimes sufficient to stop a would-be predator. So I've sent these people some horrendous shit, and I haven't heard and I haven't heard anything back. So, because look, man, these people are not gonna keep playing stupid ass games like that, okay? Like, if you wanna knowingly commit criminal acts, and I'm trying to do the right thing, but you keep on playing in a criminal fashion, I'm gonna assume that you want to get thrown in the trunk, all right? And that's how you want to play, because we can play both ways, okay? It's just like you run around with lights on your car kidnapping people, you can get kidnapped too, bro. So think about that. So for others that require more persuasion, the material in the presentment handling section will take care of the vast majority. For the minute percentage that insists on kicking and screaming every step of the way until closure, the publisher can suggest other contacts that assist you with these needs. So that's the common law. That's the common law copyright that he's talking about there. And if you guys need any information on the common law copyright, hit me up. This shit is all free. It's on the house. So it is a game of chess. Stop playing checkers with these clowns. That's what I got for you for now. Until we meet again.